Don't say
Okay.
anything.
Have you or your significant other been glued to the TV on Sunday afternoon? Has there been yelling and screaming even though their favorite team isn't even on? This is probably because a fantasy football game is taking place. Fantasy football is just that, a fantasy. Fantasy football is becoming a relevant topic in today's society, and millions of dollars are being won across the world. As a player of fantasy football over the past 7 years, I know the knowledge of ins and outs of the game. I have won 2 leagues in my 7 years of fantasy football, and I've made the playoffs 5 of those 7 years. Throughout this speech, I'd like to give you some insight into the game of fantasy football. I'd like to tell you the rules, how to draft, and what to do after your draft. Each step is critical in ensuring a successful fantasy football season. Before playing the draft, you and your friends need to make sure everyone agrees on the rules and the required positions. Most standard leagues have 9 positions: 1 quarterback, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 1 team defense, and 1 kicker. It is up to you and your league to determine how many bench players you would like to have. The next task is to establish how many points you would like to give for each position. For example, a tight end can get 15 yards per point and 6 points for a touchdown. Quarterbacks usually get 4 points for a touchdown because they throw more. The final task in setting up your league is to determine the draft order. This is often a controversial task because many people will feel cheated if they do not get the first pick. A sure way to do this is to have everybody present at the draft and pick names out of a hat. This will ensure no cheating has been taken place. After setting up the format of your league, the most important part can take place: the draft. The draft of any league is intense and exciting because no one knows who is going to select which player. The first part of conducting a draft is to make sure there are plenty of snacks available. This is because many drafts can last up to 8 hours and everybody needs to be energized and engaged. The next task is to have a draft board so that everybody can keep track of who has been drafted. For example, we have here Team 1 drafts Peyton Manning in round 1, Team 2 Eli Manning, and Team 3 Tim Tebow. You go all the way down, for example, and this has 20 rounds, so each person can keep track of who has been drafted. The final thing that needs to be taken care of in a draft is to have wireless internet. Many people want to know about injury reports, depth charts, or what the experts are saying. Having wireless internet is a critical part of any draft. The final task after completing your draft is to enter and finalize your results. Entering draft results and putting on the finishing touches can be tedious, but it is very important. The first step in finalizing your league is to drag the draft results from here and put it into the computer. This is very simple using ESPN, NFL, or Yahoo.com. The final step is to enter all the point valuations that you have discussed with your league early on. After setting up your league and clicking Start Season on your computer, your league is now ready to begin play. Just be sure that your results are accurate and match up to your draft board. When preparing for a fantasy football league, remember 4 main points. Number 1, have wireless internet. Number 2, have a draft board. Number 3, have a fair way to set up the draft order. And number 4, have plenty of snacks available. These 4 rules will help you create a positive and fair fantasy football league. After everything is ready to go, there's nothing to do except sit back and watch. However, always remember that this is a fantasy and it's just for fun. Have a great season.